Hello you lovely people and welcome. Today I'm going to be taking a look at SwissMilSim's de Havilland DH.100 Vampire. Now before we get into the sim, just show you the package. So you get two variants. You get one with external stores, and you get this version which has no external stores. Why the external stores can't be added through the weight options, I don't know, but it comes with two different models, and then those models come with the same 5 textures. There are also third-party textures by people on FlightSim.2. I've got the Royal Air Force and Royal Navy package, and there's also a Swedish livery for it as well. But I'll be focusing on the stuff that comes with the aircraft. So if we choose number 24, and we'll jump in the sim and have a look at the external. Right, okay, so let's have a quick walk around the outside. As you can see, the pylons are on the wings with no stores. Chose that version. The modelling on the outside of the aircraft is actually quite nice. As are the textures, to be fair. Very nicely weathered, and the model itself nicely done as well. You can see all the rivets, for all of you people who are fans of the rivets, and yeah, I think that looks quite nice. Very nicely done. Obviously this part of the aircraft here is made of wood. So obviously there are no rivets on this section. Yeah, that does look very nice. It's a shame it didn't have the option to have external armament. I'm not sure if that's something that might come along later on. I don't know, but I know this aircraft's been out for a little while for the sim now. So I'm a bit late to the party on that one. The textures, all the grime and stuff underneath. So I mean, what you're getting externally is really top level stuff, to be fair. And even the view of the cockpit inside looks quite decent. But unfortunately, that's where the positives come to a stop. Let's jump in the cockpit. Right, so we'll start from the left and work our way around. As you can see, textures aren't brilliant. I mean, you can see this box just here, just a box with a texture slapped to it. There's no real detail to it, as is the same with the ejector seat. It's just a modelled seat with flat textures, no straps modelled, cushions or anything like that. Same with the panel here, whatever this bit is here. They seem to have just skipped parts. I mean, the top of this cylinder, the nuts aren't even modelled. Map is just a flat texture, as is this panel here. None of these screws are modelled. Some of the switches can't be manipulated at all. The front panel, it looks fine. Metric readouts, so kilometers an hour and meters. The switches and levers and knobs that are usable are quite nicely modelled, and the reason why I have my labels on here is just to show you that some of the stuff doesn't make sense. This is the battery, so if we flick it on, you see everything comes to life, but it's called the general interrupter. Also, the engine in the manual is referred to as a reactor. I suppose it does react, but I didn't realise de Havilland were messing around with nuclear reactors back then. But there you go. So yeah, I mean, it's good and it's bad at the same time. It's you've got your split stick in front, as was the style at the time of the building of these aircraft. And then we come to one thing that I don't understand. They couldn't be bothered to model the individual screws and things like that, but we can model the spare bulb housing, which has no relevance to the aircraft at all. It doesn't do anything, which has really puzzled me. And we've got sun visor glass for the sight there, which doesn't turn on because of the for some reason it doesn't do anything because of the I'm guessing the Microsoft rules against armament, but there are sights on other aircraft, so I'm not sure why that wasn't modelled. Yeah, that's inside the cockpit. We'll do internal sounds, so I'm going to close the canopy. We'll open it again just to let you hear this. A bit loud. Not quite sure why that's at the level it is. And also, if you don't use the battery to start, there is an auxiliary power unit as such. So if we hit the button, we have a Jeep with two 12-volt batteries ready to jump start. If we activate that, which I've just done now, and then we can switch on the battery, which is how you're supposed to do it, but you can skip the Jeep. That is so loud. And that seems to be a bit of a way things will go from here on. They've not matched the volumes of any of the systems, so some are loud, some are very quiet. So as we progress, be ready for that. So let's get this started up and yeah, carry on with the review. Okay, so we're up and running. Let's get this canopy closed. Okay, that's a bit better. Now, you'd expect that to be loud because obviously you're sat on top of a jet engine or in front of a jet engine. So that's acceptable. So let's go outside. Okay, so we're all up and running and we're all good to go. The engine note isn't great. So yeah, that's the sounds externally in idle. Very loud, but like I say, you'd expect that. I mean, I don't know if it's the difference because it's a centrifugal flow engine and not an axial flow. I don't know if that makes any real difference. I mean, I've stood next to Vampires when they've been up and running, and they're not that loud, to be honest. So I believe some of the sounds could be looked at. Yeah, the systems, you've got all your flaps, like I say, everything works as advertised. You've got air brakes, things like that. So let's get this thing to the end of the runway, which is just ahead of me, and we'll do some ground handling, see how it reacts, and yeah, get the parking brake off. Okay. Now the one thing about the Goblin, because it's centrifugal flow engine, you need to treat it like an elderly relative. You have to be very gentle. You can't throttle up straight from idle to full, because you'll cause an engine fire. So take your time, and that is actually included in the in this flight model. So if you're not gentle, it will let you know. Okay, and steering is differential braking. So we've got a caster nose and a caster wheel in the nose. And it handles okay so far. Okay, but the thing is, if you add a little bit of rudder, it goes crazy by the looks of things. Okay, get leveled out, and bit awkward. Right, brakes down, throttle back. Okay, so we're just going to make sure everything's where it should be. Everything looks good. Okay, we have cabin lighting here on the rear stats, instrument lighting just on the center panel, and then night UV lighting. So that's your 3 night lighting. I will show that before the end of the video. Go outside and have a look at the flap retraction and extension. There are 3 stages. First stage, second stage, third stage. Okay, either side of the boom and outside. So retract those to first stage, jump back in because it's so noisy. Crikey. Apologies if you didn't hear me. And the flap lever is here. I've got it in the first stage for takeoff. Got our trim wheels here, elevator, and there is a trim for the aileron as well. So let's take off. Take your time throttling up. We don't want to cause an engine fire. We do have an extinguish button under this cap here if we have that issue. It can be extinguished, and if the engine's still good, you can still fly. Okay, brakes are holding well. I mean, the engine sounds there pretty good. Right, brakes off. Back on the stick ever so slightly, and we're up. Now the gear retraction. Ready? That's horribly loud. Again, I've never flown in a Vampire, so I can't tell if that's right or not. Retract the flaps. Trim out. trims out alright. Throttle back, don't want to overspeed the aircraft or overstress the engine. It can only stay on full power for so long before it bursts into flames. Okay, so looking around. Okay, so make sure that we are trimmed out nicely, get level flight, and then we'll do some aerobatics. Okay, so what's the roll rate like? Nice and slow. I don't expect neck breaking rolls in this thing, but works well. Okay, I'm going to climb a bit higher because I want to try something. Apparently there's buffeting before the stall, and I want to see if that is actually correct. Let's climb up so that I can recover. So we're 2 kilometers up. Let's give it a go. We're going to pull back slightly on the stick, get the nose up, slowly reduce the throttle. No, just a stall. Okay, hands off the stick. Just let it do its own thing. Okay, throttle up slowly and recovered from the stall quite nicely. I don't know where the buffeting was supposed to be, but didn't really see any of that. Down slightly, throttle up, do a loop. Yeah, performed a loop quite nicely. I mean, it's a solid flyer. Most definitely. Nothing wrong with the flying characteristics or anything like that. It's quite enjoyable actually. You just got to think of this. Remember, it's one of the first jet engine aircraft to be produced. So it's not going to be anything like the jet engine aircraft that we're used to flying on here, especially the modern stuff. So very nice. If I could find RAE Bedford again, I would put this down. But I've chosen a crap day to have live weather on. Have a look at the external view while we're up flying. Whoa! Sure that bit isn't supposed to be missing from the gear door, but I could be wrong. I'm sure that would mess around with the characteristics of the aircraft, and especially as the fuselage is made of wood, that air rushing in through that hole wouldn't be doing that any good, surely. Right. Okay, so I'm gonna try and get this thing on the ground now. So it'll either be a jump cut or a speed up, depending on whether I've found Bedford or not. Okay, so I've managed to get out of the fog. Artificial horizon's messed up there. But Bedford's over there. We're going to try and make a landing. Okay, it's better. So far it's handled nicely. Trims out very well, like I said before. Okay, let's get the gear down. God, that makes my teeth go funny. It's a horrible sound. Okay, first stage flap down. We've actually jumped down into the second stage there. No, that's right, first stage. Reduce the speed down a bit more. Get down into second stage. Final stage flat down. Oh, blimey, nose up. Okay. Air brakes out. A little bit high. Anyone on console wondering why RAF Thurley/RE Bedford is on Sim? It's a third-party freeware add-on. Nice big wide runway. Okay, so let's just let this float down. Nice. Okay. Just a wheel brake. And that's it, we've come to a stop. Right. Now I'm going to show you what happens if you abuse the engine and don't treat it with respect. This I do like what they've added in terms of if you don't treat the Goblin with respect and take your time with it, it will backfire on you. So I'm talking to you inside the cockpit at the moment because it's bloody noisy outside. What I'm going to do is just going to throttle up really quickly, and you'll see what will happen. And then we'll extinguish the fire. It's underneath the fire extinction here, so you release the fire cap and then push the extinction button. What I'm going to do, leave the cap open. I'm going to jump outside, keep the brakes on, and throttle up really quickly. The engine won't like it, and you'll notice that with the sounds it makes. Throttle back, you can see we've got the fire going there. Push the extinction button, engine's already shut itself down, so the fire is now out. Obviously if you were flying and that happened, you would have to either shut the engine down before it damages itself and shuts itself down, put the fire out, and then try and do an air relight. Nice little bit of added realism there, so nicely done, SwissMilSim. So to summarise on the SwissMilSim de Havilland DH.100 Vampire, it's an aircraft that I love. It's the only one on the sim, and it doesn't hold up to expectations. Aesthetically, inside the cockpit, it's a bit of a mess. Externally, it's wonderful. I think it's really nice. Apart from that gap in the nose gear, that's very odd. I've never noticed that before. Sounds are all over the place. The gear down canopy, just even the igniters, when you start the engine up, the ignite, it sounds like you're actually inside the combustion chamber waiting for it to ignite. The clicking of the igniters is just over the top. Like I say though, I've never been in the real aircraft, but when I get into my car, turn the key, I don't expect to hear pistons bumping up and down really loudly from inside the interior. Flight dynamics, really nice. Handles really well, and responds to your controls as you would expect. It trims out nicely. I mean, it's not going to set the world on fire. It's only a late 1940s jet concept, so especially with the central fuel flow Goblin, the power output is not great. I think it's like 3,500 pounds thrust, so it's not going to go anywhere quickly. But yeah, it's fun to fly, and as long as you bear that in mind, you can get a lot out of this. If you can overlook some of the texturing, some of the modelling, and some of the sounds, which seems a lot, but to be honest, if I was to rate this out of 100, I'd probably give it a 75, purely because it's only some of the sounds, it's not all. Majority of the modelling is spot on, and the majority of the texturing can be overlooked. The main instrument panel is fine to look at. You're not going to look down to your left or your right too much. But other than that, the price, I mean, £25, it's certainly not a £25 aircraft. Like I say, you're looking at DC Designs, India Fox Teco kind of sort of level of detail and modelling and that sort of thing. and I can't really say that this is worth the money. If you can grab this while it's on sale, I would. £25, bit of a sting. Maybe £20 at a stretch. But yeah, I think this is the first aircraft I've come across where I've had to be a little bit brutal about my review, if you can call it brutal. I do love the aircraft. It is fun to fly. I've flown through the Alps in it, and it's just been a lot of fun. Just some of those things are some nagging little things. I mean, if they're going to carry on product support and possibly change some of those things later down the road, totally would be worth the £25, but at the moment, no. And like I say, it's only, I'd give it a 75 out of 100, or a 7 out of 10, or a bush out of a forest, however you want to categorise your scoring systems. But yeah, that's the SwissMilSim de Havilland Vampire. I'm happy with it in the majority. A little bit disappointed with some of the things, but as I say, I can overlook them. So if you got this far, I appreciate you carry on watching and your support. And like I say, if this thing goes on sale, grab it. It's a lot of fun. Just got some cons that can be overlooked. So with that, I'll end it here. Thank you, as I say, if you got this far, and take care, and I'll catch you in the next one.